In this video, you're going to learn how to add or remove an asset class from the Asset Registry and Forecast tool. This is useful if you want to track something besides fleet, roads, facilities, and pipes. You will also learn more about how the Asset Registry and Forecast tool works. To get started, let's say we want to add an asset class for IT systems to track computers, servers, etc. In the tool, asset classes are stored on these blue tabs. The first step is to create a new asset class tab. As IT systems, we're talking about point assets, and we'll probably want to track things like manufacturer and serial number. We're going to start by copying the fleet tab. Right-click, select Move or Copy, and I'm going to put this before the asset registry sheet. I want to make sure I'm creating a copy of the fleet, so I check the box. I click OK, and you'll see the tab come up. To rename it, right-click, select Rename, and type in what you'd like. The next step is to change Asset UID. Now, we won't put all the assets in yet because we want to set up some examples and make sure that the sheet is functioning properly. So we're going to start with just 3 assets. We're going to quickly give this the name ITS. And we are going to put in for the asset name, we're going to put in laptop 1, laptop 2, and server 1. And for the services, we can put in drinking water. Let's put in fire protection. And for the server, let's put in governance and administration. And so as asset class, we want to be able to put this in. So our next step is to go to the reference tab and add an asset class. Now, the easiest way to add to this list is select the bottom value, use Control X to cut that value, and then use Control V to paste it one down. This automatically extends the range that's being referenced so that you don't have to reset the list value manually. We type in IT systems, and when we go back, now we're able to select IT systems. Now, there's some data left in here, but right now we're just testing, so that's okay. Let's give it a shot. Let's go up to Data and Refresh All. Now, we go to the Asset Registry tab, and we see if any of the IT systems assets came through. Here's our problem. We've added a tab, we can track the information, but it's not feeding to the asset registry, which means it can't inform these reports. So our next step is to get that data flowing through to the asset registry. In order to do this, you're going to have to first rename this table. So click somewhere in the data and go up to Table Design. And over on the left-hand side, you'll see Table Name. You can name this IT Systems. Now, we need to make a connection to this data. Click over on the Data tab, and then click from Table or Range, and this opens up Power Query Editor. You can see here the tables that are in the tool, including IT systems. And we want to go up to Close and Load because we are going to load a connection. A connection is going to make the data available to Power Query, but it doesn't display the data as a new table. Click Close and Load To. And in this import data, we want to select only Create Connection. Click OK. And we can see now, if this side window opens up, that IT Systems is now loaded as a connection only. Now, if we were to refresh the data, it still would not flow to the Asset Registry. We've only made the data accessible to Power Query. We now need to make sure that the data is being pulled through to the Asset Registry. In order to do that, let's open up the Asset Registry query. Now you can do that by double-clicking on that entry. And this is showing us the Asset Registry table. This is the data that's currently being displayed, and at the top is the query or the code that's being used to pull the data from the Asset Class tabs into the Asset Registry tab. And if you look, you can start to understand the code. Selecting rows, combining data, using these columns, and you can see here the table name at the front, and then in there are the column names that are being pulled through to the Asset Registry. And you can see that they match exactly the names of the columns in the sheets. So if I were to select roads, you can see Asset UID, service, status. The wording in the code has to exactly match the columns, and the columns have to be named identically in all of your asset class tabs. That's why it's really handy to copy an existing asset class tab to get started building a new one. Now for us to make sure that this data is flowing, right now it's looking for data from fleet, it's looking for data from roads, it's looking for data from facilities and from pipes. We need to put in an entry for IT systems. And the easiest way to do that is to copy an existing line of code. So in this case, we'll do it for facilities. And we're going to add it to the end. Now you'll notice that these all have commas. So we're going to add a comma after these brackets. I'm going to go to a new line and I'm going to paste that code. And now this time we won't add the comma because there's not going to be another entry. This is the last entry. Now, instead of facilities, we put in the name of the table, and it has to match exactly. IT Systems. Now, you can click Enter, and you can actually check to see if your data is flowing through in this view. I've scrolled down to the bottom, and look, there's the 3 assets we added. So to close this window, we can close out of the query editor. We want to keep our changes. And now, if we refresh all, we scroll to the bottom, you can see that the assets from the new asset class that we've added are now flowing through. And once that data is set up, now you can go back and you can start adding in your assets and making sure that the data is accurate for them. But remember, you don't want to delete any of those columns that flow through to the Asset Registry. Those are needed for all of the reports that are built in the tool. You can add as many columns as you'd like in addition to those, but you want to make sure that you keep them. Now, if you want to remove a asset class, such as pipes, the way that you would do that is very similar. In this case, we'll select pipes and we'll delete the tab. Now, if we were to refresh all, we're going to get an error, and that's because the query is looking for data from a tab called pipes. So we say OK, And it's already opened it up here. But if we didn't have that, we would go up to Data, Queries and Connections. We would go to Asset Registry, and we would double click on the code. Now, it's not showing us anything because there's an error. So we need to go up to the code. We need to scroll down to pipes, and we need to remove that entry. Now, when we press enter, the data is flowing again, and you can see that because it loads below. So we can close. And we can come over here and we can delete that connection for pipes. And now we've eliminated pipes from our tool, and there are no errors, and all of the data that you do have flows through to the asset registry sheet, making it available for the state of infrastructure report and the replacement forecast report. Hope this will help you further customize your tool.